today's mainstream media is nothing more than a modern day press gang, pun intended. And basically how for those of you who don't know how a press gang operated, was the sea captain would find it very difficult to get sailors to go on a voyage with him. So what he used to do was he used to have a unwritten agreement with the landlord of a local pub at the dockside. This would be mainly where sailors drank, and he would say to the landlord that he would pay all costs incurred, and could the landlord issue free drinks for the night. And this would always be the day before a voyage. Now the sailors, at first they were numb to it, they didn't know what was going on, but they did get wise to it. And basically the sailors, being sailors, would go into that pub and they would just, he would say, you know, free drinks, it's just free drinks for the night, for your custom. And they would drink themselves into a stupor. And they would fall over on the floor and they would be completely out of it. So they were in an absolute daze. They were in, you know, they were completely numbed down by this free offer. They couldn't resist it. And while they were in this state, the press gang used to sneak up on the pub, and when these sailors got wise to this, they set up what was you know, a spyglass, which is I'm from Bristol, and basically the spyglass is now the hole in the wall, but the spyglass itself still exists, and there would be somebody looking at that to keep an eye out for the press gang. Now the press gang would come across, and anybody who could make it away would make it away, but they would basically run in the pub. Anybody was still standing, they would hit over the head with a wooden truncheon, and anybody who was on the floor passed out while they were easy. And when they woke up in the morning, they were on board the sea captain's ship as a slave, and doing exactly what the sea captain wanted them to do. Now the reason why many of them didn't want to go on these voyages was because a lot of them ended up ill and dying of disease. You know, these were early days, very primitive days, and a lot of them didn't come back. So it was very hard to get them, and this was the only way they could get them along on board their ship, was to distract them and then knock them over the head, take them away, and they would wake up in this new ship, you know, on board this ship that was, and they were subject to slavery of their master. Now, if you compare this to mainstream media, basically the mainstream media is the part that sends people into a stupor, so they don't know what they're doing, they don't know where they are. They get very confused, or get taken on a ride which goes down the wrong path, and they don't know what to think anymore, and things conflict each other, and basically they end up in a very confused state. And then they also get distracted by free or cheap stuff, materialistic stuff. So it could be cheap alcohol, so that takes us down the same route again. You know, it could be many things. I'm not going to go into all the conspiracies of things that we get injected in us, like vaccines, things like that. But basically we become in a complete stupor and numbed down by this mainstream media. Now we're basically at the end game of that now. So the press gang is ready to come in. This is what's happening, and they're going to introduce their new rules and what they want to do. Now, when they come running at us, the people who have decided to, there's two types of people. There are the people who fell for it, and the people who, you know, are still in it. They will be the ones who will be taken away into that slavery system. The ones who decided to cast aside all those distractions and actually put a sensible plan into place, or even be aware of it, you know, research it enough to be able to counteract what's going on, they are going to be the ones who are going to possibly get away and go on their own voyage. Now that would be, you know, that would be like the modern day pirates, right? So we're back in this situation where it rolls out exactly the same as a press gang did back in the day. Now we've got two choices, so we either stay like that, or we go on our own journey. Now our own journey will pan out just the same as the old pirates. So if you think back to the days of piracy, they were actually mainly navy who were made redundant and basically cast aside when they were no longer needed, and they become very angry and bitter about that. So they would go on, they would steal the ships of all these military forces, and this could be like Blackbeard, for instance. He went out and out against the rulers of his time, no matter which country they were from, whether they were from the Queen of England or whether they were, you know, and this is why he called his ship the Queen Anne's Revenge. But they would either go to the Queen of England, or they would go against the Spanish government. But whatever it did, all the slavery, the French slave ships, they would go against all these. Now, people who wanted to come on board with them would come on board with them and be freed, as in the slaves that chose to do that. But the slaves that just wanted to stay there, they would set them free on an island, something like that. So, and they would take all the loot from these people who were doing the enslaving and use it for their own voyage of discovery. And people like Blackbeard, who actually incidentally was thought to have been from Bristol itself, he would do that. He would just go anti the system, and he would just want to play out his life in his way, and take his chances. Now, we got a choice to make here. We either stay numbed down and we completely fall for it, and we subject ourselves and our children to a life of slavery, or we pick to cast that to one side, to buck the trend, try and go out on this new open voyage of discovery and find ourselves a new way, a different way. Now, this is all, both sides are very risky. Both sides are very risky, because either way you're gonna go through tough times. But me personally, I would rather take my chances creating a future away from slavery and rule, and live a full life. When I say full, I mean doing things that I want to do, whether it be short or long life, then I would live out the rest of my days slavery, watching my own children be enslaved. So if you want to join me, and there's many others like me as well, but if you do want to join me, then I'm on Facebook. Dressed in this, my name is Kai Bowman. It's spelled Kai and Bowman. So if you want to join me on this new voyage of discovery and actually cast all this rubbish to one side and take your chances living your life free, then please come and have me as a friend. Cheers, bye.